What's wrong with it?
Yeah, I've got this. I've got those documents that I sent you. I've got them up on my screen, so I can share my screen if you like, and we could talk that through. But I'll let you plug in first.
Yeah, okay, good. Okay. Yeah. Hang on.
All good.
Oh, that's it. Yeah, I had a quick look at them. Some of those, hang on. Just hang on a sec. Might need to get another. I might just get another cord because the computer's low on.
Oh yeah, no worries. Yeah, fire up.
That's it now. Okay, we're all set now.
All good. Awesome. No worries. Yep. Well, this is just so when we do these audits, it's just a matter of sort of seeing what comes up for us in terms of when we put names in around things. And so in the end, I just did it as Jim's Bookkeeping Melbourne West, but because then Jim's Bookkeeping's a bit light on, there's a couple of things where I just pulled up the Jim's Bookkeeping as well. So clearly the individual ones are pretty skinny. So the idea is just to sort of try and work out where the gaps might be and what sort of opportunities there are in terms of creating various channels for. So at this stage, as I said, I've done it because when I put in Jim's Bookkeeping Melbourne West, I noticed that on the website that sort of is grouped as well, right? So there is that sort of region which you're part of as well, right? With your particular franchise too, because so effectively the relationship, Brad, you have in terms of what's your relationship to those other franchisees in that region? Oh, have I lost you? I might have lost you. Oh, there you are.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, no, I was just asking you. So, in terms of you've got your own franchise, and then now are you a classed as a master franchisor then, or?
Yeah, sort of. Bill is. I'm a regional franchisor.
Regional, yeah.
Yeah, so I look after Melbourne West, and then there's like someone above me, if you like, as well.
Yeah.
Looks after the whole lot. Yeah.
So anyway, so effectively, I've grouped it in the first place just to sort of get a sense of the lay of the land, right? So I'll just work these through, and this we've probably got questions. If there is questions as we go along, I'll kind of talk them through and talk about what sort of things I'd recommend you do, right? So the first thing that's interesting, you put in Jim's Bookkeeping Melbourne West, and it looks like the only business that's got a Google business profile is Dandenong. so Dandenong Valley, which is a bit unusual. So in other words, that's a pretty easy fix, right? So you got one or two choices. You either make Jim's Bookkeeping Melbourne West in the first instance, you create that Google profile, and then or you could have individual Google businesses for each of the franchises. But in this way, I've chosen to group them, right? So that's the first thing. If you want to have the group of, which would be Melbourne West, and you could create that Google business in that way for Melbourne West. The other thing is,
so we're not really. We're just considered Jim's Bookkeeping. It's not really Melbourne West. I just put that on one of the things, and I don't even know if it was right, but
Well, so my
I suppose we're just known as gyms.
yeah, you are, but at the moment, no one's going to find you. So this by doing this just shows you how unsearchable all of you are within the group, right? So in actual fact, the only person I
Yeah.
would say that's searchable is Dandenong Valley. He or she are the only person at the moment that gets advantage out of search.
Yeah. Okay.
So realistically, yeah. So you can
But if
see.
someone types in Jim's bookkeeping, we just yeah.
What's happened to my one there? So realistically, so my sense is, so Jim's bookkeeping Melbourne West, right? So even you can see what comes up. So this is just so you know, it's kind of worrying. If this was my business, so, if I was, no matter what level I was at, I'd be concerned around this, right? Because firstly, you get bombarded by others that are advertising over the top of you, right? So the first four things above here are actually Google ads.
Yeah.
By businesses that aren't you, right? The next thing that comes down is, as you said, is the actual bookkeeping itself. But because you've got no Google profile, or it doesn't appear there's a Google profile other than this one in Dandenong, you've got, it's a free sign up, right? So effectively, my suggestion to you is that you do Melbourne West first, so that it's similar to the website where you're grouped. But then you might also have individual Google profiles for each of the locations, right? Because if you're down in,
Okay. Yeah.
if you're in Point Cook or Geelong, so in other words, then this doesn't happen. He's always going to have the advantage of, particularly anything on Google first on is always an advantage, right? Because they go on longevity. But yeah, so that's the first thing, is I would highly recommend you have a Melbourne West Google profile, as well as profiles for each of the others progressively.
Okay.
As I said, at the moment, just by doing the Melbourne West, you'd be doing more than what the business has done. So the brand has done. And as I said, that's not uncommon that I work with franchises that are actually far better across their social media than the brand, or individuals and independents, right? But you can see at the moment, you're quite a long way down from a search perspective. And it's, as I said, a relatively easy fix. What does come up, if you then go down, you see that then the individual pages, right? So Jim's Bookkeeping Werribee, Jim's Bookkeeping Hoppers. So that's just bring up the website pages. That's not a Google business, right? And then there's Jim Bookkeeping Home again. The other thing that's really unusual nowadays, and you see finally your Jim's Bookkeeping Melbourne West Facebook page, which you've only recently sort of put together, I think, actually comes up as a search, right? And clearly not much has been, nothing's been done on that page, right? But clearly, if it had been done, what you typically get. So back in the day, if we were doing this 10 years ago, these would all be directory sites. It would probably be yellow pages as well as the website, and Facebook wouldn't be on it. But increasingly, what tends to happen, I'm surprised in actual fact that your LinkedIn doesn't come up, even though, again, it's very similar. It's probably on page 2, but often what you find, and what we'd be angling at, is you want your business on Google, you want your Facebook and LinkedIn and your Instagram profiles all come up, and even your Twitters and your YouTubes, right? Ultimately, your socials become your most heavily searched items once they're created. And you can see how that could be when you've already got a Facebook page that's not really being used, already sitting on there, right? So anyway, that's the first thing is, create that Google business profile and post to it. that would be the other thing. So just looking at the website, like you said, this is the brand's website. The good thing so what we try and do when we've got brand, but then doing franchisee social media, is you've got all this really good information that's available that can be shared to the local site. So you can share the information that's from here, and you would basically share that to the you're on twice there. Actually, that's interesting. You might be on your
just switched my hotspot.
Okay, maybe I'll take off one of them. Is that okay? And that way you won't get coming through here. Hold on a second. I think I've taken off the right one. How's that look? Yep, you can hear me still?
I can hear you. I can't see you though. That's all.
So it's on the so you had just go to the
other
other
side.
side.
I got it. Yeah.
Cool. No worries. Sweet. So anyway, basically on websites, we've been taught to read websites from the top left down and up, right? So, there's the Jim's bookkeeping. Well, it's pretty evident, I guess, with the Jim's brands, what it is that you actually provide, bookkeeping. But this sort of stuff is, you see positioning, your local bookkeeping service provider, brilliant bookkeepers, da da da. There's no real social media proofing on this website. It's very traditional. Like Jim's for 20, 30 years has always just used the phone number, right? So really, there's no other way that you want to be contacted according to this website, really. I know I can click on the contact, but let's face it, people don't. so
Yeah.
so realistically, according to this website, the only way I really want to be contacted is your phone. You need to phone us, right, to the call center. I guess probably what I could do, whether it's my website, but you can see up here, yes, I still want people to phone me, but you can also find me and contact me via these ways as well. So there's some social proofing, and you'd see the same thing if we were to go. So again, when with Bill and Jim's Laundry, for instance, actually, let's do Jim's Laundry. They've done the same thing, right? So effectively, we're in a social world nowadays. I hope they have. Hang on, is that going to come up? In fact, where's this coming up? It's on the homepage here. Hang on a second. He says, and I think the way they do is they actually put all their socials. They set them all here, right? So they've actually got them all there. Again, in an ideal world, so they're still kind of playing to, they got to make sure that under Jim's. So you see, they've still got this. The phone number is still prominent, but we are playing really heavily in all these other places, right? So we're sharing.
And is that what you do?
Yeah, so I share across them for them. They've got this plugin, showing that they're a social business and all that sort of stuff, right? So anyway, part of it is at the moment, as I said, you're kind of limited by the fact that you just have the website and the only way to be contacted is the phone number, right? So, but then I could.
I mentioned, these are all wrong too. Ellen has left, but someone else is there, and so that's not even up. Joe's gone. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this sort of stuff is, you just means that people aren't doing themselves any favors at all online, right?
Yeah.
This stuff needs to be up to date, right pictures, and the information that you want to have people, about. Because this is how I find out about you and whether I make it. I do know Eleni, for instance. She has her own brand as well, doesn't she? She's still part of it.
She left. She's got her
she's
own
left.
brand now.
Yeah, that's right.
Mm.
So I'd be picking up on this and sort of saying, well, okay, who the heck's, whoever your web person is, make sure that it's up to date and make sure that, and the onus should be on the individual franchises to make sure, hey, have you seen this? You need to make sure you're given the right information here.
Yeah.
Because realistically, this is how people are going to come and look and decide whether they're going to work with us to some degree, right? So, find out about us. It's easy for me, in the setup session, making sure that, professional Brad, who's the thing, have this,
and that's about 10 years old.
No, that's all right. No, you do look a bit younger. The hair looks a little bit darker. That's all.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have put the cover image on there. This sort of stuff here is now becomes like your business card. So this it probably can. I think you can have about 200 characters in here, right? So you're a franchisor, Jim's Keeping Melbourne West. Business owner of your business, and what do you do? You basically make all the details in this. So again, this is, I do a lot of business networking, but if I wasn't, I would, LinkedIn is the next best thing realistically in terms of your calling card, right? So yeah, you basically make a note that you own Ascot Vale and you're the franchisor for the Melbourne West region, and why the hell should you be working with us? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's a very easy fix to zhuzh you and make sure you're up to date. Again, there is some other ones that come up, including yours, right? So I just sort of out of interest sort of had a look at what does come up. You'll notice in here is that yes, there is Jim's Bookkeeping Franchising, which kind of suggests that you're not so interested in working with customers, but you're interested in getting more franchises, which is always a bit of a dangerous thing. And you've got two. Jim's always has two customers, right? So he's got the customer that gets the bookkeeping service, and he's got the service deliverers, right? So he's also making money as a franchisor, right?
Yeah.
So, but I would say that Jim's Bookkeeping should have its own one, and then you can either do individuals, or what you've started doing is having Melbourne West, right? So with your different people that are on there. So again, you probably set that up at the same time as you did the Facebook page. I'll have a look at that. But yeah, so the name's been grabbed, but realistically, there's been no activity or anything
I don't
on there,
remember
right?
doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
hopefully you did do it, because we'd want to get access to this one. Otherwise, we just have to create a new one, and that can be an issue at times. But the other thing is, if it's me, again, you want to get advantage. Did I say to you previously when we talked, when we do social media marketing for businesses, we want to win from the bottom up. So in other words, we want Brad to win first, Ascot Vale, Melbourne West, gyms. Whereas typically franchises go gyms, call us, and then we'll disperse, right? So the Brad wins last in that relation. You still win, hopefully, because you still get given your clients, but effectively, it's not using any local area social media strategy, right? So think of it like pamphlets. So if Brad wants to go and put out pamphlets or advertise in the local newspaper, Brad does that as Ascot Vale, generally, I would think,
yeah,
right?
I
Yeah.
suppose the way our system works though is because there's 8 franchisees.
Mm.
Now I don't want work at the moment though, so there's only certain franchisees that want certain work,
Oh yeah, I understand that. Yeah. So
yeah,
it's more as the point is you're a to put a to try not to to try and make it as proactive as possible. Actually, I don't know. You're a dog's breakfast at the moment. It's an
yeah,
absolute dog's
okay,
breakfast. Like it's
yeah.
literally bad, right? It's really bad. So your website's okay, and then you've just told me in actual fact that the actual Western region, that's not even good, right? So
No,
realistically, it's really really bad. But the good thing is, it's not hard to fix really quickly, right? So
so
because
how do we? Yeah,
yeah, so
because
yeah, yeah.
yeah, so with our system, and I know you wanted to go from the ground up, but did you want to do each individual and promote each individual franchisee?
No, not in the first case. That's an option for you. But in the first case, I would do it as Jim's Bookkeeping Melbourne West.
Oh, okay,
I would
okay.
do it as Melbourne West, which is kind of what you've almost started and
I don't
tried
remember
to.
doing that. So
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
I outsourced to Canva or someone to
All
get
right.
the logo done, and maybe they did it. I mean, I'm sure it's
But
all
even
linked.
that's not using the logo though in that one, is it? So that one's using Jim's Bookkeeping. So
Yeah, no, that's the right logo though.
I
Jim's Booking Melbourne West is not really the right logo. That's the right logo.
okay,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So again, with using a local area strategy, you'd normally at the very least have
Mm.
Melbourne West written underneath it, right? So that you can just use Jim's Bookkeeping, and that's fine. But you'd always have the naming in the below it. But yeah.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, let's keep going. So I guess I just saw that this one, and maybe that's where you got Canva. But when you put Jim's Bookkeeping in, yes, it does have a Facebook page, and yes, it's relatively active. So I did have a look at both. In actual fact, and then there's a couple of Jim's Bookkeepings as well, right? None out.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe Point Cook looks like he's done one. Um,
Oh, yeah, that's good. Yeah, he has.
yeah,
He's new.
yeah,
Yeah.
he's done one. It's pretty new though, although it looks like, as you said, if he's new, so he had done 7 posts in 2 weeks, so he's
Yeah.
probably having a crack.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
And it's not a bad way to do it if they're going to run it to actually. That's how we do it with Jim's Laundry, I think. Or no, actually, in fact, no, on their website they have a photo like this, but actual fact on the for the brand, because you understand the brand. So in terms of the logo should be all Jim's Bookkeeping, but then you've got an office of, right, to make Ascot Vale even look bigger. It may well not just be Brad. You know what I mean? The Ascot Vale office may well have a couple of people working with you, for instance. I don't know.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
So the idea is, from a branding perspective, this does tend to make people look smaller, right? So I know that I don't know who this fella is. You probably do, but anyway,
Yeah.
I do know Michael. He's down at Grovedale, right? So yeah,
Yeah.
again, he's another one that I know. But look, it's not a bad way to do. But if you are going to do that, for instance, I think this fella has at least probably got his Jim's Bookkeeping shirt on,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah,
So that's
yeah,
a way of at least being on brand, and
yeah,
that's probably not a bad way of doing it.
yeah.
Understanding that the best example I can give you is that we tend to. What's this fella's name? Do you know? Do you remember?
That's Daniel.
Daniel, right.
Yeah,
So typically the reason, and let's say Daniel is out there, he's probably getting active. So we may well not have any sense of, and even more so with, say, a Jim's brand, that sense of, oh, do we like Jim's brand? Well, we don't really know Jim necessarily. Are they ever booked it? But we may well have met Daniel. Right. So all of a sudden we've met Daniel. Daniel puts a face and name to it. So that's kind of local area 101. Daniel goes to some business networking. Oh, he's that guy that showed up with the point, So I did a thing for Bank of Melbourne at one stage, right? And let's face it, we hate banks.
yeah,
Even the banks we bank with, we don't like. But as soon as you put your local branch and your local people, and you're using and you're targeting local area, well, we don't hate our local branch and our local people, even if we don't bank with them, because often they support our schools, their sporting clubs, whatever the case might be, right? So that's how I mean from winning. So banks probably aren't that clever when it comes to trying to use that philosophy. The only one that does it is Bank of Queensland. Actually, no one else does that sort of strategy, right? They tend to use the whole brand down. But anyway, without getting too caught up on that side of things, the best way to do it is to create your local one as you've done here. The only thing is this sort of thing, and again, maybe that was done for you by Canva. This sort
yeah,
of
yeah,
thing looks great on brochures and backing things and that sort of stuff, but it looks really shit on social media because it says
yeah.
it
Okay.
makes people think that you're trying to sell us, right? What works
Yeah,
best on social media is real people, real images. So it's basically, it could be, a, a picture. I mean, it might be hard if we can't get individual logo pictures of people. But what we're doing with, say, the Jim's Laundry, we got photos on all their pages. There's a photo of them with their branded car, picking up laundry sort of thing. So showing people what they actually do and who that, so there's actual real people on their brand pages, right?
yeah,
And if not real people, stock image that actually shows people what it's actually about, right? So
yeah.
what we want to be, we're in that generation, right, where it's all about us. So I want to know what it is. So I want something where I can sort of see a picture that sort of looks like Brad talking to a bald bloke that might need some help with some bookkeeping. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
okay. Yeah,
That
yeah.
sort of stuff, or spreadsheets or Zero or whatever it is. All that sort of stuff that
Okay, getcha.
So
Yeah.
yeah, this
That makes sense because
yeah.
I wasn't sure where you were coming from. I thought, well, that doesn't work the way we work, but I understand where you're coming
Yeah,
from
so
now.
having all this
Yeah,
sort of stuff. So in the past, if you wanted to post this image on your Facebook, sorry, and promote it, put $1 behind it, so a couple of dollars, for instance, and advertise. Facebook wouldn't let you because they used to only let 20% of the picture to be done with any graphic, right?
Mm,
Nowadays, they do let full-on print image. But the reality is it still doesn't work. Is because effectively we're looking through our feed and Brad's gone and supported his footy team, and then Mary's gone and had a breakfast somewhere, and all of a sudden there's this print image in our news feed, right? Because they're all about news feed. Every
yeah,
every
yeah,
social media's news feed, and it just jars. It's like, what the hell? I don't want to see this. You know what I mean? I just want to
yeah.
kind of. So we're always doing disruptive in our posts and advertising if people aren't following us, right? So you'd have your clients who'd follow you, and people that like you and refer you might follow you, um, but in the main, if we're advertising, it's people that we're trying to get the attention of that don't know you, and so they you want to kind of make it, as I said, that real image that we can see ourselves and we think, and you potentially, as you go, oh, yeah, I know Brad, or I know somebody that works with Brad, and that encourages them to want to sort of do business with you. So you've done pretty well, given that you've only set it up, and given you've actually not done any posts, that you've actually got 114 people following this page already.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Not a bad effort.
So, would you work with this page, or would you want
Yeah,
to
no,
change?
we just I'd get rid of half a dozen of these posts, but it's not really about the page itself. All I do is update the cover image with a better image, and we'd if this isn't the logo that you think you should use, I I would say if it was me and I'm looking after Melbourne West, I'd use this logo. No one's told you off for using this logo, have they?
Not yet. I've mentioned it to the divisional, but I don't think he listened to me. So
Well, my suggestion to you would be you've taken the gym's logo and all you've done is you've put the name underneath realistically
because
and a
the only
circle around.
reason I was coming from that is that what is our territory, but sort of West has sort of got its own. I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say. It's sort of we're from the West. It's we're
Yeah,
part. Because with our first franchisee was started in the West. He's still with us. He's over 70. He
yeah,
started
yeah.
in 2004. So I thought, I should bring that into it, supporting the West since 2004. I didn't know.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. So I think that it's probably it's a good way of from a cost effectiveness if you're wanting to do that. You mentioned you got somebody in Carlton. That would be the only one that I would say it doesn't really fit in the West, but that's probably just under your region. Is
yeah,
that what?
yeah.
Yeah. So all the rest probably do. I mean, even yourself with Ascot Vale, that's kind of northwest,
Not
isn't it?
yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. Yeah.
But anyway, the reality is you've got that capacity and you sort of started. I just sort of went on the leanings from the website and what you'd already started a couple of pages. That was all. I think with the gym's bookkeeping, there's actually two gyms bookkeeping, actually three, but there's a good chance that there's a good chance that at least one's um, probably somebody. This is my guess is that somebody probably started it at one stage, grabbed the name. Somebody else went and thought, oh shit, the name's been taken. What I would suggest um, is that if you're wanting to grab the name, you'd probably put postcodes at the end of each. Well, anyway, we'd work that out. But the reality is, there is a couple of gyms bookkeeping, but I don't think there's any activity on them. Right? They've just sort of someone's grabbed the name. That's it. So again, there's an opportunity there. That was just the Google map. So the way when you see you've got this, the only gyms bookkeeping. There's actually is a couple. There's gyms bookkeeping
Oh,
Sunshine
Sunshine North.
North.
That shouldn't be there. She's they're an old. Yeah, they've been
Okay.
told off for that.
Oh really? And then there's another
Yeah.
gyms booking keeping Jan Juck. So
There's not one there. No, there's one Ocean Grove. That's it. That must be a very old one.
yeah. So this is the thing, and it's just more as the fact that there isn't people that are set up. And this was kind of funny. This made me laugh a little bit, but I'm not quite sure who set up the Jim's Bookkeeping YouTube channel, and I'm not quite sure the relevance of a ship with something exploding in the background by the looks. I have no idea what that is, but yeah, that was kind of interesting. But it was done in 2014.
Oh my
Often
gosh.
so my suggestion to you would be you create them so that they're easy, so basically they become best practice so people can see how they should be created, and then potentially the other, even the brand, to be honest, even the brand may finish up copying, but and then I can see even here, even so YouTube channel should be absolute best. What the only thing that they've connected up the top is
I
actually
know.
they've connected the website, but basically on your YouTube channel you can actually put in all your socials and your website, right? But they actually have connected the
I
website to
think
it.
because I know that there are YouTube videos, and I think they're on our website. Because I know we just had our conference and we had to take them, but maybe I'll just let him know you've got a YouTube channel.
Yeah, yeah. So that if that's where the YouTube. Let me just go to. You reckon there's a couple on the
There are, because I know that he was going to use them for promotion. Now I don't know how he's going to use them.
I wonder where the video is. That a video? No, it's just a.
I know a franchisee had checked out a lot because before he bought. That was Daniel. He checked out a lot of
So where do you reckon those videos? If they're because often that's
um,
what you do. You actually embed videos into the website. That's the easiest way to do it, right? So I might go to YouTube and work it out from there. Hang on, see what videos are on there. Um, yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, look, these
Yeah,
have just been done.
yeah, there's one. Yeah, these are all just recent. Yeah.
What the hell? Why is that coming up? It's got my logo in there. There you go. That was a bit weird. Yeah, so these videos, so someone's got access, and
Yeah,
there
yeah,
you are in actual fact.
yeah, yeah.
So realistically, if it's again just from a business perspective, you that video you should be asking that to go on your page. I'd put it on your page, right? So if you can, where's you? There we are. Learn more. See here, you'd get that embedded down the bottom. So you've just
No.
put it in there.
Is
If
that
they've done,
hard to go do?
pardon.
Is that hard to do?
I'm not a web person, but I can tell you
No.
there's nothing easier, right? So
That's really-
I've got a web person. In fact, it was my web person that introduced me to Bill and Jim's Laundry. So yeah, so I do a lot of video now, sort of explainer and just this sort of stuff. So when I'm recording, and this one clearly I put in private and it never goes to air other than for you and me, but
yeah,
um, but yeah, you just basically you just embed it, and basically it's no harder than putting up a picture. And again, you got what you'd want with your LinkedIn's so this is a good opportunity even for you just to think this is your um, most valuable asset
yeah,
to your
yeah. And I've used that.
online, right?
2010, I
Yeah.
did that.
So you want to probably get a nice, well, that video might actually be a way you could possibly almost crop your video to use it, right? So
Yeah,
you probably can use that same fella that's been here and just crop out a picture. But straight away, this is great fodder for sharing to social media as well. The problem is if you're to share, so at the moment, um, this is a massive lost opportunity, right? So you've got this video. Someone's taken the video, and this is not uncommon, right? So someone goes ahead and spends money on a magnificent video, right?
yeah,
Who the hell's ever got? So I've given that a like, by the way. But
yeah,
how the hell are they going to tell people about these videos and show people these videos? What's the point of them?
yeah,
Maybe they're going to put it out across Jim's overall brand at some stage, but it'll get lost, right? So understanding any social media, unless it's promoted, has a cycle of about 24 to 36 hours, right? So in other words, you push it out to Facebook, LinkedIn, Google, blah blah. Um, Basically, it'll be in the feed, and maybe the people that are looking at it might see it. And on Facebook, that's like 1% of your 1 to 10%. So you got 100 followers. So even if you push this great video out now, 10 people might see it on your Facebook page, right? Because they don't.
yeah. See,
Yeah,
the divisional was going to do all that for his promotion, which doesn't look after our area.
yeah. So this is brilliant, right? So in terms of if it was if particularly you've got a number of your people, this you straight away got your advertising sorted. You'd basically just promote this for awareness and you might do it through Melbourne's West, but the ones that want to grow their business and you'd have these videos and you just do them at a couple of bucks a day or whatever and promote them, and then you've got something that you're going to grow the page, grow the businesses and that sort of stuff. So these are great content for you. The problem is at the moment they're secret. So you need, for our strategy is basically to post it on social media. Where can I go and find out more about Brad? Oh, here you go. You link them back to where your landing page is on the brand page, right? So you have the link there, and you'd have a phone number, right? So I know you. So you you're allowed to, I'm assuming, have people call you direct.
No,
Yeah, can't call
no.
you direct. Okay, so
Yeah,
you have to
got
still
to,
go
yeah,
through. You still have to go, which is kind of funny, right? So on the one hand, like Sharon gets all excited about when some of her laundry ones are getting direct messages and all that sort of stuff.
yeah.
What's the fucking difference? It's like,
Yeah, the problem is, um, we want it to go to the one, we
head
want
office
them to
number. Yeah, yeah,
head office number or somehow because they can click and
yeah,
do
yeah.
an online one as well.
So that's okay. So it
But
doesn't
I've
matter.
got
Yeah,
franchisees I want to grow more than me. Like I wouldn't want them to come
yeah.
to me. I I
Yeah,
can't
that's
take. I
okay. Yeah,
can't be
yes.
seen to taking the business.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So here's the thing though. So they'd all have, as you said, everybody has the same phone number, and whenever we're posting it on the gym's ones, whatever one it is, right, it all uses the same phone number. But if it's actually wanting to get people back, you'd actually definitely take them back to the Melbourne West part of it, right?
Yeah.
And or if it's specifically relating to one of the franchises, to the actual franchisor's page, so I can actually look and find out more about that particular franchisor. I'm just trying to explain to you the best way to get your at the moment, as I said, you've really you've got an opportunity based on the fact that the franchise of bookkeeping is a great business, but on social media it's not great. Right.
So how do we?
Even online, it's not great. So even the web, particularly for
Yeah, I
bookkeeping,
can't control
you
that.
can't
That sounds
control that. But
pleasant.
and
Yeah.
it's like anything, right? So, but the advantage of being in any franchise is you want to use the benefits of the franchise and the franchise brand, all that entails, right? Not just the elements, but the fact that you've got the support phone number, you've got the backing and all that sort of stuff. But at the same time, you want to then use that so that you're using a local area strategy
Yeah.
that
Okay.
basically gets people's notice. So this is the gist, right? Why you do it. So effectively, you want to protect the brand online. Now, at the moment, your brand is butchered. No one's protected your brand online, realistically, right?
Yeah.
So by doing what we would talk to about, it would be the first attempt at protecting the brand visually online, because at the moment, as you said, there's a few people that have gone cowboy, gone rogue, and done a few of their own pages,
Yeah.
and none of them would want to do a bad job of it, but none of them are social media marketers,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So that's the first thing. So and it does build equity, right? So I could tell you people that, and I don't know if this is how it works. You talked about the fella that's 70 years old, right? If he all of a sudden, which one's his one? Is his Werribee?
He's Werribee.
And I don't know what he's doing with it, but if it doesn't go to the grave with him, if he builds this stuff and all of a sudden it's Jim's bookkeeping Werribee, then it's a sellable entity, right? I don't know how it works in gyms. I imagine you can do that, right?
Yeah, you can sell, but he doesn't want any more business. So he'll refer any.
But is he going to
Uh,
sell in the end, or is he just going to do it to his
well,
grave?
he's happy just doing what he's
Yeah.
doing. He's got
So
his second
the, the
home share.
reason the reason we talk about equity though is that I get plenty of people your age, my age, that come to me and they're wanting to get out, and they're a dog's breakfast, right? And so it's a bit like selling your home, right? So what do you do before you sell your home? You tidy everything up and you make it look whiz bang, right? So
Yeah,
that's effectively the opportunity around your brand on social media and online, is that you've got this opportunity to sort of make it whiz bang, right?
yeah,
So the other, so you want to differentiate the brand business and franchise partner representatives from their opposition. And there's an interesting, you've got almost internal competition a little bit, because effectively you've got others that, anyway, so you'd be different from them, but you've got plenty of external opposition, right? Who are also often a dog's breakfast, but in many ways don't have the, and maybe aren't as scared to butcher things, or,
yeah,
they're worried what Jim, he might not do it right. So the good thing is, I know Joel and various ones, they kind of encourage you, right? So I think because they know that the brand can't do everything across this sort of stuff, right?
yeah,
So, because you want to be top of mind with your local community, blah, blah, blah. And ultimately, as you said, you've got ones that are worried about increasing business too much. Well, ultimately, my business, if people aren't making more money, then they stop doing it, generally speaking. So that's the reality, is we want to get more business through the door by using a local area strategy. I don't know if I explained this to you before, but let me just quickly show you the model, right? So, and then I'm not going to, I don't want to sort of, um, what's the word? cook, cook your brain in terms of what
yeah.
the
I
realistic.
tried looking at this,
Yeah,
and I thought,
but
"Oh, I
just
get
so
this."
yeah. So this is tried to make it so, understanding that social media is just a communications channel.
Yeah,
It's like business networking. It's like mail flyer, business flyers. It's like your phone number, all that sort of
yeah,
stuff. It sits up here, right? Because the reality is, if your business strategy and marketing strategy is no good, then no amount of social media will make it any better, right? So,
yeah,
you need to have a sound business, which all the gyms businesses are, right?
yeah, yeah,
So that's the reality. You've got a good strategy. You need to know who your customer is. Who is the customer? It's mainly small businesses.
Small, medium businesses,
Yep,
yeah.
correct. What's the offer? What makes gyms equal to or better than other bookkeeping services?
Oh, we've got the name.
Yeah. Okay. So
Yeah,
you've got, you got experienced professional people that have need to bring in those skills to the business, right? So you don't have to have the 2-for-1 offer or the bet. You basically just got to have experienced officer, and probably what makes, what's this part here is there is that you different. Now, what makes you different shouldn't be that your social media is whiz bang compared to others, but it may well be one of the advantages, right? So,
yeah,
yeah,
what the division's tried to do, because we've got Jim's bookkeeping. Now, bookkeeping is not a very good term, I don't believe either, because it can encompass just BAS lodgements, but it can
mm,
encompass everything to do with the business. So some of my larger clients,
mm,
I might do everything for them. They don't do a
yeah,
thing. Whereas others, I may help them when they get stuck on something. So
yes.
it's, I don't know how to change that.
So
And we've
some
got
of you,
payroll as well. We've got a payroll division, which is the same. And
yeah, well,
mm,
but again, that's where you're so when you're doing any social media, that's what you educate. You're all
oh,
about
okay, yeah,
educating what you actually can do, right? So it's
yeah,
all the services you can provide and that sort of thing. So and also the fact that you mentioned, you've been doing this, the brand's been up and going for more than 2 decades or whatever the case might be, that sort of stuff. So that
yeah,
plays into this a little bit. Now, you might have heard content marketing. Content marketing is just simply the imagery, video, still or video imagery, and the words you use. So the copywriting, that's just content marketing. So in other words, whether you're doing that by email, blogging, or social media, content marketing is just words and imagery, right?
So you would need that, wouldn't you? Like
I
we'd
don't
have to
need
give
any,
you that.
realistically, I work by using the website. The website's got shitloads of content for me.
Yeah,
If you haven't got any good imagery, and the website is a bit lacking when it comes, it's very word heavy, right? So there's not a lot of imagery, right? There's this book, but and this sort of backing one, this
yeah.
sort of stuff is good, but again, it probably encompasses people beyond your region. But you can see if just about every area is just it's almost like a PDF, right? There's no,
Yeah.
but having said that, I can find and use this sort of images by going to free ones. So, for instance, even if I use something, I'll just write this, right. So if and when people don't have it, then I kind of use imagery that's like. But certainly, it's great if we could get, the one thing that Jim's Laundry has done for he's made sure they've got a really good picture that they can use as their picture, as their profile, in the same way as you've got on the bookkeeping website. Is that you basically want to have your LinkedIn profile picture, which preferably has you with your shirt, your logo. And as I said,
Yeah.
you could, it'd be very easy to cut yours from that video you've just done, right? So you could cut a professional looking photo. I would just take a screen grab of that photo. I've done that for myself. In fact, I think my current one uses something along those lines, right?
Yeah.
But if not, I would be suggesting that every one of your franchisee has a picture taken. Do most of your franchisees drive in a branded car?
Oh, they all do. Yes. Yeah.
So again, what Laundry have done is and I would just ask them to send you, you know, if you're going to do it, just ask them for a half a dozen photos, right? So it could
Yeah.
be photos, ideally the you'd need at least three type of photos. The first one is almost like your real estate LinkedIn photo, right?
Yeah.
Which is basically your photo that we can use on the website, or that you can use on your website, and the
Yeah.
photo that can be used for social media when it's describing who's part of our thing, right? So you'd want a headshot,
Yeah.
professional headshot, photo with the car,
Yeah.
and what makes an awesome photo is photo with people's backs sitting on a desk, potentially with a client or somebody that looks like a client sitting in front of them.
Oh, okay.
So a back to the camera, maybe looking at their computer, or maybe just talking to somebody, right? So now that's the challenging one to get, right? So, but the easy one to get is hopefully a mugshot, so a professional photo that can be used on their LinkedIn and their website, on the website,
Yeah.
and a car one, and the ones with the car make a really good cover image, right? So and that's what I'd be suggesting. So yeah, so anyway, so they're the three ones that would really work, right, a lot better. So and again, there's usually plenty of content that it doesn't, as I said, half a dozen photos of them just doing their work, around their desk, whatever the case
Yeah.
might
Yeah.
be. That's what I'd suggest, because ultimately, and I've worked with plenty of business coaches where I've had to say, hey, it's not about you. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
certain business coaches, like, every post they want to have their mug on it. It's like, and yes, they can be popular to a degree, but the reality is people want to see themselves in it, right? So it's okay to put a photo up when you've won an award or whatever the case, or you're introducing yourself, but all the rest of it, we want to see ourselves in, not, and how you're going to help me. So we're all what's in it for me generation.
Yeah, I
You know what
suppose
I
the
mean?
thing about bookkeepers, they're the opposite to the coach. They don't want to be in
Well,
things.
maybe, yeah, true. That's right. So I hope,
Yeah.
I imagine you're right. I mean,
Yeah.
and in some ways, I'm not dissimilar. So you're behind the business, you're not actually in the business. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So anyway, the bottom line is imagery becomes important. You've got plenty of words. That website has it has got. I wouldn't run out of things to say for a year. Based on the
Oh,
website,
okay.
right? So that's easy.
Because I
The
can give you up-to-date stuff, like things that are happening, like, director's ID and things like
Well,
that,
you
that are.
can do, but the things that I always tell people, but if you want to really benefit, always think website first. So,
Oh,
so,
okay,
so
yes.
if you do that, so I don't have clients sending me PDFs and that sort of stuff, because then you're wasting a whole opportunity to basically, if it's a recent event, then put it on the blog. Send it to the
Yeah.
web person first to say, hey, this was us at whatever it was, an expo, or this was us doing this, or so basically you get the benefit then of search and of social media,
Yeah.
because otherwise, so all those keyword things, you might have gone to the Zero conference, for instance. I don't know, you know what I mean? But yes, we can post that, and yes, we can just do it to social media. But the reality is, if you're thinking social media and only social media, then it doesn't work as well as when you're putting it on the website as well, where people can,
Okay.
because
Yeah.
people don't want to read long form things on social media. What we want to
Yeah,
do is see a
okay.
picture of the guys at the Zero conference having a great time, blah blah blah, proofing that they're really in touch with what's going on.
Yeah.
And to learn more, go to the website/blog that
Yeah.
sort of tells what we're doing, right? Anyway, so yeah, the main people often get confused around social media, particularly, as you said, if you were talking about an older bookkeeper. Personal, the only thing we do about personal is we make sure that Brad looks really good on social media, but then
Yeah.
Brad's linked to the company. So we're doing all
Right.
company posts. We're not doing posts to Brad's personal social media, right?
Yeah.
Brad can share and like the
Oh,
Brad
okay.
can share and like the company stuff, and that's helpful. But we don't post to Brad. I'm not going to be Brad, right? But we tell you tips and tricks to sort of
Oh,
use
okay.
the
That's
company
that's what
post.
we're after.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, so essentially, you want to make sure that your business card looks 100% bang on. So what I'd suggest is that I make sure that you look a lot better than you currently do, and you're up and about, and it's worded properly, and connect. You're not. I don't think you're even connected to the brand, right? So you
Yeah.
actually say where you work, but when you actually do that, but you're actually not connected on LinkedIn to it. So which one is it? Here, right? So you've just got franchisee bookkeeping, but see how there's
Oh,
nothing in
yeah.
there. So
Yeah.
whereas it does say that you used to work at ANZ, so at least you've been able to connect that one, but you're not connecting anything here, right? So if I
Yeah,
connect on
okay.
that, it doesn't do anything. It just takes me back to you.
Yeah.
Um, so anyway, long and short. So yes, we want to make sure. I've got no doubt that you'll be competitive with any bookkeeping rivals, and we want to speak to the people that we want to speak to, and the language you want to use is the prospects are going to probably look like your existing customers. So you're going to tell us, particularly when we're doing any advertising, what they look like, how old are they, what sort of businesses do they run, that sort of thing. Where do they
Yeah.
live is the main thing, probably as much as anything as
Yeah.
well. And we use a repurposing strategy where we take information from the website, as I said, you've got plenty, and we share it to the social media sites.
Yeah.
with the intent of getting them back to the website or to the phone. So
Yeah.
any post that we have always have the website and the phone number,
Yeah.
right? Um, and then we kind of know that less than 50% of businesses even have a Facebook page. So when it says that less than 50% of businesses have any social media, that just means they might have a Facebook page.
Yeah.
Of those ones that have a Facebook page, less than 30% of them have ever advertised. Now,
Yeah.
Facebook's not very generous when it comes to just posting. But if you put $1 on, you can get amazing benefit just by spending $1
I
or
think I
two.
was putting money on Facebook, probably wasting it because
Yeah, yeah.
I
No,
wasn't
I can
doing
guarantee you've wasted any money you've spent so far on Facebook. Yeah, it just absolute based on that page. Yeah, you're not ready to advertise that page at the moment
Yeah.
via that page. Yeah. So yeah, so it's always interests me when people say, "Oh yeah, I've tried Facebook, it didn't work." I'm like, "Really? You used that page to try it? No
I've
doubt it's
actually got a
working."
client that they're into all this. They're into Google AdWords, social media, and all this
Yeah,
sort of stuff. And
yeah,
but they're probably a bit big.
yeah.
I'll get them to do Google AdWords again because they did that.
Yeah, Google AdWords. Google AdWords is a different speciality, just so you know. So Google search and ads, so SEO and ads is a different speciality to me. Generally, they make really bad social media advertisers because they try and use the same strategy and they're
Doesn't
not
work.
great,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So because they're only used to keywords and stuff, right? So
Yeah.
so they don't. So there's not too many digital agencies that I could do an audit on digital agencies, and most of them are crap as well, right?
Yeah.
So because they only think of advertising. So what we're talking about here is organic posting, Monday
Yeah.
to Friday posting, which unless you're doing that, your advertising is relying too much on the dollar, right?
Yeah.
So and it's we sort of try and work on, and without we still want to make people money and have them grow, but we do still think relationship first, sales second.
Well, that's what our business is relationship.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
not,
yeah,
yeah, that's what I tell a new franchisee. They're not going to make a lot of money straight away because
yeah.
you've got to build that relationship with clients.
Correct. And so the organic Monday to Friday posting is about um, staying in touch and continuing to. So the clients you have, because there's only two reasons you do any marketing communications, right? Is to keep the clients you've got and then get new clients. Now, the
Yeah.
advertising is good for getting new clients. It's
Yeah.
helpful, right? So, but the organic posting is good for educating and not just the current clients, but also the referred type client, right? So the people that are working with you that tell their people to use you as
Yeah.
well, right? So anyway, and then like any good marketing, you need to be able to cost it. So what does it cost to set up? What does it cost to have, management and reporting? And what does it cost for ad campaigns? And again, we tell people our pricing is done in such a way that we keep it low because we do want people to spend, $3 to $5 a day
Yeah.
as a starting point to running some ad campaigns because they
Yeah.
do work best together.
Yeah.
And so that's what this sort of talks to. So I've sort of done this for you around the audit and consult. So we
Yeah.
waive that when businesses progress, right? So this
Yeah. Yeah.
$203.50.
Yeah.
So people progress. As I said, I think you're well placed to sort of set it up in the first place as Melbourne West and do it properly. Um, and then determine whether you want to do individual locations beyond that, right? So that's how I've
Oh, is that
costed
what that
this.
meant? So if we
That's
want to go down that track, we
You
can.
can, yeah, but seeing as you'd already seeing as the website kind of lends itself to the region, you could basically just do the region and you'd made a start on it, right? So you could just do Melbourne West first and then decide see how that's going, because then you can promote, right? You can promote as well, just using that as a regional page, which, as I said, is going to be a lot stronger than the brand probably, and
Yeah.
but at the same time, it'll help the brand look at what they probably need to do as well potentially if they want to get it. But I just see it as a way that you're not going to yeah. Anyway, I don't
It,
see. Yeah,
with that, because we're only looking at a grand, but if we got a new franchisee,
yeah.
so we could do the new franchisee, like you could do them individually the same way. Is that what that
Yeah, that's
means?
what I'm saying. So
Oh, okay.
so I'm doing this, but let's say you made it Point Cook, Daniel.
Yeah.
So Daniel's probably a bit half-assed, right? So I think it's good that he's showing that intent, But if I'm sitting with him for basically 3 hours, so this is to get his setup right across all the channels
Oh,
and get
okay.
his location, then do his a planning session with him, then I can easily be doing something with Daniel as well. And then just doing, so this is to do 3 posts a week for Melbourne's West. With these ones, I'd be doing 2 posts a week for individuals, right? So for instance, if
Oh,
Point Cook
okay.
wanted to do it, then so this is something they could take up. So effectively, because a number of things, it would be relatively easy after doing one of them, right? Because effectively we've got something to look at. So it wouldn't be that hard, and even on the basis that, would you want them to have individual? The question is whether you want. So on Jim's Laundry, you probably wouldn't set up necessarily YouTube channels.
Yeah,
You probably wouldn't set up you possibly wouldn't set up LinkedIn companies. But
yeah.
as I said, I can whiz through them in a 3 hour session because effectively we'd sort of template it on the Melbourne West, right, in terms of what we do. So, but yeah, that's what that means.
Let's see. I just with the, I mean, that's good for me to think of because because we've got an advertising fund. And I've got to probably need to get everyone to approve that in the region.
Yeah.
The reason Daniel's doing post is that I'm paying because he's on a thing called paperwork guarantee. So when he starts, if he doesn't earn 1,000 a week,
Mm,
he does these extra things, and I'll pay money to do those things.
right.
That's why he's doing it. So it might be a good strategy for new franchises because I want them to get work. I've got to get them to
Yeah. See,
get work.
someone like Daniel though, to pay him to do, you're basically paying people to do things where it's slightly out of their, he's Daniel might be a bit younger, is he?
I'm 57. He's younger than me, that's for sure. He's
Okay, so
probably in his like maybe 30s.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay. So he's not young. Based on my theory, I have a theory that if you weren't 28 in 2008 or single, then social media almost passed you by.
Oh, that's
But
true because I've got one that's in her 30s. She knows this
yeah,
stuff.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, so
So,
Daniel may be just on the verge, but the reality is, I could really somebody like Daniel and the lady that you just mentioned
Amy,
that
yeah.
actually understand the platforms. They're actually a lot easier to work with, and they're a bit like, the reaction from those people are, fuck, thank God. Because they do, there's almost an expectation. If you're young, you kind of know, but it's a bit like, I don't know, we've been watching TVs for a long time, but do you know how to hang an antenna and and mount the
That's
TV on
right.
the wall? No, we
Yeah.
don't. You know what I mean? So I'm particularly unhandy when it comes to that stuff, right? But it's really easy to straighten those people up, right, by just sitting with them for a session and actually going through. So it may well be that as I said, you have the region, and this is fairly straightforward how we could do it as a regional, and particularly if they were paying into a fund, because then what I'd be suggesting is that, yes, ongoing, what is it, 282, but
Yeah.
you might cost in how much advertising would you want to spend on it. So, and I'd be suggesting, if you're promoting something and promoting into the location areas, that you'd want to be spending, $5 plus a day, which, what's that, $150 plus a month. So you'd want to add in what the ad spend you're intending to spend, right?
Yeah,
And
let's do the region, and $5 a day sounds good, and we'll do the what you're suggesting, the social media, yeah, the management. So
yeah.
if yeah, send me an invoice and
Yeah,
we'll
well, I'll send you through the steps. Yeah. So
yeah,
basically, you and I need to set up a time, right, where we can actually be on for. We needed to do our 5 hour day, right? So that's a
yeah.
long time for us to do that, right? But once we've done that, we'll be off and running, right? And
Oh,
then
I see what you mean. Okay,
yeah,
I
yeah.
want to get it done now, but you need the information, I
Yeah,
suppose, don't you?
I'll send you the so we tee up a day. Yeah, yeah. So we tee up a day.
Yeah,
And that can be whenever suits you next week. I mean, I've got a car wash I'm doing on Tuesday, but I think I've got Thursday or Friday next week if either of those days suit. Yeah, basically to sit down, but I'll send you a checklist of what we actually go through. It's nothing to panic about. It's just basically what we'll work through on the day to make sure we cover off things, right?
yeah.
Um, uh, yeah. So really, it's just a matter of then teeing up that time, and that would be awesome. I think if we do that, as you said, particularly from each franchise, we'll probably start pulling people up to a particular level, right? So it as a region, so it's kind of exciting because I think you'll be demonstrating to your franchisees what's possible, but to
Yeah.
some degree, you'll be demonstrating to the franchisor what's possible as well.
Yeah.
And we will make sure that we use all the brand elements in a way that they're going to be happy with. So as you said, maybe in the first place, we just use the gym's bookkeeping. I'm happy to, from a point of difference, I think you've already used the logo, and I think it's probably okay to make it with the circle around it.
Yeah.
But if you're wanting to just keep it the plain white one, we can do that as well. Whatever you think.
Yeah, probably because I know that I spoke to the divisional, and I don't know how much he listened to me. He was
Yeah,
happy
yeah,
about it. He said, "Well, because no one else is doing this either
yeah,
in our division. He sees himself as a bit of an expert in
yeah. Okay,
Facebook. I don't know if
right.
he is, or you can see from the website.
Beware the
So,
expert, I always say. I hate being, I have people go, oh, Steve, he's a social media guru or a wizard. And that makes it sort of sound like you're doing something magical. The reality is I'm actually a marketer at the end of the day, 3 years
yeah,
qualified. And they may well see themselves as an expert. But again, I think, well, that's great. There are often really good people to evidence to because you can, when I've worked with people that have that sense, they often almost see it more like coaching. They're like, "Oh shit, I didn't know that," and it's sort of like, and
mm,
so they add it to their level of knowledge, right?
yeah.
So it's not a bad thing to have in a way, is somebody that do feel that they kind of have a bit, because you may well finish up educating them a little bit more, across the other channels as
He
well, right?
did. He's the one that organised those videos. So he's, that, and he does do some good things as
Yeah,
well.
well,
But
those videos look brilliant. They were going to be a
yeah,
real asset to you. As I
yeah,
said, it's just how we use them. So
yeah,
those videos are going to be a real asset for you, I reckon.
yeah.
Yeah, so
But the other regions around Australia, they're not doing anything either.
Yeah,
So I can, if this works, then we can get making it not like a dog's breakfast.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, so that's the thing. So the opportunity is to, I guess, what we have in mind is that the first play is that we evidence the region, and then the potential is that, having done that, that one or two of the newer franchisees may well choose to do individuals as well, to sort of really pump up their own individual process,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
So,
yeah.
and it's a good way of keeping everybody on brand if we do it that way, right? So, as I
Yeah,
said, yeah,
there are 3 that are looking for business out of, oh no, 4 that are looking out of business out of the 8 at the moment.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
um,
So that's the opportunity. So those three, once we've
yeah.
done our session, may well want to do a shortened session of something similar.
The only thing is next week, my daughter was actually moved to Dubai, and
Oh,
she's
really?
got 5 days off, and then I may be going over. So that's the only thing that will
Sweet.
stop it. If
No
that
worries.
doesn't,
Well,
'cause I haven't seen her since a couple of months. So
well,
yeah.
that I've only just I've spent 2 weeks coming back from Vietnam. So it's, yeah, that's right. There's
Oh,
there's
not
plenty there's
Vietnam.
plenty of
Yeah.
stuff that we're all catching up on, like you said.
Yeah.
Look, I've got I'm booked out this week, and as I said, next week, Thursday, Friday, but maybe the following Tuesday.
Well, no, that might look, if I don't go, next week will be fine.
Yeah,
But maybe I'll just drop you an email or something.
yeah,
You know
yeah,
what
yeah.
I'm doing. I'm only going for 5 days. She's got 5 days off. So yeah.
Yeah, why do you
If
go? You should go.
oh yeah, I've been on 7 trips this
Oh,
year.
have you?
So,
Oh, geez. Well, you have caught up then.
yeah, I have. But I want to see her as well. It's more
Yeah,
to catch up on her. Yeah.
yeah,
'Cause
yeah.
yeah.
Well,
So that's the only thing that'll stop next week. But let's
do you want
aim
me
for
to
that.
tentatively do it Thursday, and then if we need,
Yeah, that Thursday. No, Thursday I can't. Friday be better. Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
let's go tentative Friday.
yeah,
Um, you happy to say 9:30?
yeah. Sounds good.
Okay. And that way I can sort of send you through everything. And then if push comes to shove, normally it's not ideal, but Friday is almost my overlap day in a week. So given it is Friday, that one is what I might do is I'll just put a little note for Tuesday the following week, which is bloody, can you believe, you know what the following week is? That can't be right. Actually, no, I've pushed back too far. No, I was going to say, otherwise I'm getting too close to Christmas. Hang on. No, next Friday is the 9th, right? So that's
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Friday's the 9th. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's see how we go with that. If it doesn't work, then we'll look at, I'll just put a little note, question mark next to the 13th.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds good. Yeah.
I've got I was like a preferred supplier for City of Maribyrnong, this grant scheme they did, and
Yeah.
and so I've got 4 new clients that have all got grants, right, to come in. So it's a nice thing to come back to, but I'm thinking I'm not sure how many are going to want to do it pre-Christmas. We'll have to see. Anyway,
Yeah.
see how it all plays out. But
Yeah.
it's a good problem to have. Um,
Yeah.
so what I'll do is I'll do a little I can stop sharing now. I'll do a little calendar for us for next week, and I'll also do Basecamp, which basically talks through the steps that we'll go through and that sort of
Yeah.
stuff, so that the thing that I'd probably say is have some thought around what we could use as an initial cover image, because I don't want to use that print one. So if you've uh, you could use, I could show something for you, but my sense is if you've got a actual fact, I, how about I challenge you to start with? It could be that you use your car with no one in it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That might work.
You could use your car. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So just to start with, because you're looking after the region, just take a photo of your car. I mean,
All right. Sounds good.
it probably, if you're looking after the region, it probably doesn't hurt to do it for yourself as well. So I'm going to challenge you before we meet. Get yourself, even
I
though I think,
can't.
yeah,
I think I'm not allowed to really promote myself as, you know.
no, that's okay. That's okay. But
I suppose I'm not. I don't know if I'm allowed, but I don't know if I want to. I mean, Lloyd does. He says the CEO of Jim's Bookkeeping. So I see where you're coming from. Maybe I'll take a
yeah,
photo of the
take
car.
photos of
Yeah.
the car. That's okay. And that would be good to start with. Maybe just thinking, because I could probably merge a bit of I could probably create something for you. So I'll get you to, so rather than, so I wonder whether you could take at least 3 good photos, maybe get a photo. So I think I can use that video to be a photo that we could probably use for your LinkedIn as your profile. So we
Yeah.
are going to. I'm still going to do I'm going to do your LinkedIn so that
Yeah.
other people within your region can look at you at the very least to see now what it should look like.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
that's the first thing. I probably can use a photo of that, but if you wouldn't mind, so that other people can see how to do it, get somebody, a partner or somebody in the house, take a photo like a real estate agent just from above. Use a camera and just take
Yeah.
so that an updated one,
Yeah.
with you wearing your gyms, or with, even if you've got a backing with gyms, something along those lines, just that you
Yeah.
can use for your LinkedIn, and then maybe someone take a photo with your head to the back of the camera with you at work, and maybe you're looking at the website or you're looking at your spreadsheets or something along those lines,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
And maybe take a couple along those lines of you working, or just papers on your desk, because I reckon that what we might be able to do is use a photo of the car and a couple of other things that just sort of show what you do. Yeah,
Okay. All
because then
right.
it wouldn't really matter which friend, that it just, so that it looks like it's just a bookkeeping related, right? So that
Yeah. Okay.
so yeah, just take a couple of photos. I'll mention that in the checklist. But if
Yeah.
you do that, I think everything else we should be okay. The only thing is whether we're going to be able to get access to the LinkedIn. You can get access to your page, don't you? So
Yeah. Yeah. I
your
was
Facebook
posting
page. Yeah.
things during the pandemic.
Okay,
They
so
weren't
we should be able
nasty things, but
That's okay.
yeah, I can give you access to that.
We'll be able
That's
to know on the day. We'll be able to work it. But that's just a little note you'll see in the checklist from it.
yeah.
No
All
worries.
right.
All right,
Sounds
we'll
good.
be all good. That's
All
great,
right.
Brad. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be.
Yeah. Sounds good.
I
Yeah.
particularly like the ones where you know we'll really, after we've done that session, we'll be beating our chest going, how good does it look straight away?
All right.
There is that element. So, and then it's kind of exciting, because as I said, you've got plenty of content.
Yeah.
It's just sharing it with some visuals, but which we'll get
All
to.
right.
All right.
Sounds good. All right.
Perfect.
Thanks.
Good on you, Brad. Have a great day.
Okay. See
Cheers.
ya. You
See
too.
ya.
Bye.